Welcome to the debate. It is 2026, and, well, the economic landscape for local businesses is pretty unforgiving. We're seeing flat job growth and, budgets are getting tighter everywhere. So in this environment, a survival strategy called newsjacking has taken hold, basically injecting your brand into breaking news to grab attention. Today, we're looking at the feasibility of using Voxel Micro Labs and their Microlab model to pull off this high-speed strategy. I'll be arguing that Voxel's specific infrastructure makes speed the ultimate competitive edge.
And I'll be arguing that while the technology is impressive, the strategy itself is risky. I believe this rush for immediate content could easily sacrifice the thoughtful depth that's, required to build real client trust.
Okay, let's start with the market reality. Efficiency is everything right now. The Voxel model says it can save businesses up to 80% on production costs. But the real story here, the real differentiator is velocity, what they call Hollywood quality at South Bay speed. So picture this. The Fed hikes rates or local housing data drops suddenly. A small business owner can't wait a week for a camera crew. Voxel offers these preset vibe lighting setups, auto framing tech. It lets a realtor or a CPA establish immediate authority before that news cycle just vanishes. You have to be first to be relevant.
I agree that the barrier to entry is lower, absolutely. But I question the whole strategic imperative here. We know that video builds what they call a parasocial bond, right? Where a viewer feels a real personal connection. That trust is fragile. So if a local attorney, say, rushes down to a studio in San Pedro to record a hot take on some complex new ruling just to be first, they risk looking reactive, not wise. The Microlab model removes friction. I get it. But sometimes friction is a necessary filter for quality.
I disagree that speed has to equal carelessness. Let's look at the actual workflow Voxel is proposing. It starts with the trigger. A business owner is watching the market and sees a headline. Maybe it's inflation data showing pressure on the cost of doing business. They don't have to scramble with a tripod in their office. They book a session at Voxel, they step into a comfortable setting, not some cold, sterile warehouse, and they record a 20 or 30-minute deep dive that very same day. They're using that speed to address client anxiety in real time. That isn't reckless. I'd say that's responsive.
Responsive is one thing, okay? But let's talk about the next step, the AI content engine part. Voxel really emphasizes their special dry acoustics, which is just a technical way of saying the room has zero echo. This means an AI can create a perfect transcription instantly, and this allows you to slice that one deep dive into weeks of content. My concern is the output. You're taking complex financial or legal advice and then chopping it into high-velocity vertical video for TikTok. I mean, when you slice a nuanced legal opinion to a 60-second clip to please an algorithm, are you really serving the client? Or are you just feeding the machine?
You are serving the client where they actually are, which is on their phones. We know vertical video dramatically increases mobile watch time. Let's take a specific example. A local real estate agent in Torrance. A report comes out saying median rents are staying high. Now, if that agent sends out a text-heavy newsletter, the data says maybe a 10% information retention rate. If they go to Voxel, record a video explaining what that report means for local buyers, and get it out that afternoon on Reels, they achieve visual authority. They become the face of that news story because they were first.
The retention metrics are undeniable, I'll give you that. 95% for video versus 10 for text. That visual anchoring is powerful. But context matters. For a realtor, sure, visual speed might work. But what about a CPA or a financial advisor who's dealing with people's livelihoods? The vibe in that video has to convey stability, not frenetic energy. If you're constantly newsjacking every little blip in the market just because the studio is easy to book and the AI makes it fast, you risk becoming noise, not a signal.
I see it as leverage, not noise. The Voxel system lets you turn 1 hour of your time into weeks of content. For a lean team in this economy, that kind of leverage is the difference between being visible and being totally invisible. The technology finally allows you to be substantive and fast.
And that's really where we diverge. The Microlab model creates an incredible opportunity, yes. I just hope business owners use it to amplify their best, most thoughtful analysis, not just their fastest reactions. I think substance still has to come before the newsjack.
We can definitely agree that in 2026, video is a defensive necessity. The tools are here. The question for our listeners is really, are you ready to move at South Bay speed, or are you more comfortable staying in the slower lane?
Exactly. Thank you for listening to the debate.